going to do a review on irony, and I think you've done irony, probably you've touched on it 4th grade, 5th grade, 6th grade. So on this chart here, it's a KWL chart. What I know, what I want to know, what I learned. Fill out the first 2 columns. I'll set the timer for 2 minutes. You don't have to write sentences. You can just list what you already know about irony and maybe what you want to know about irony. Maybe there's something that you forgot.
My name is Danielle Keys. I've been here at Derry Area Middle School for 11 years, and I teach English Language Arts 8.
Remember, you're doing this independently. I want to know what you know about it. Oh, good. That's good. Just put some things in the first 2 columns. Anything you remember about irony? If you can't think of anything right now, I bet as soon as we start to go over this, you'll be like, oh, that's right. I remember.
When you're planning for your effective model of engagement, I think one of the things to do is look for where there's natural breaks in the lesson. You don't really want to force it, so when you're planning and you think, well, maybe that was a really great time to stop and let the students figure something out on their own or share their answers, try to find that natural break in the lesson.
And actually, before we do that, why don't you go ahead and talk at your table. Share what you wrote in the What I Know column. Okay, hold on a second. Now, what I would like you to do is take a look at the What I Want to Know. Why don't you share with each other what you want to know about irony? What do you already know about irony? Thank you. Thank you, Hunter. What do you already know about irony?
I said it contradicts a point.
All right, it contradicts a point, yes. So can you explain to us what that means, Emilia?
When you use the effective model of engagement, transitions can sometimes be a little bit of a challenge depending on the students you have or the size of the class, getting everybody to come back together. One of the biggest things I realized this year was to set the standard from the beginning. Students know that they have that time to discuss things with each other, but as soon as you give them a signal, they need to go back into where they are so that they can discuss things as a group.
Notice that everything done so far has drawn from the student's own personal background and/or the collective brain power of the group. This is Meaning-Centered and Social Lens 101. Good teachers use these lenses so that they know where to take their classes and where they're building from. Now let's see how Ms. Keys continues the effective model of engagement with her next class.
So, I'm going to show you 3 videos. And I have a worksheet for you to use. It's very simple. As you listen to each video, you write. Is it verbal irony? We're watching that one, you write, what is it? They're going to give you the definition in there. What is verbal irony? They're going to give you several examples and just jot down 2. The dramatic irony video. Give me the definition. They'll give you lots of examples. Jot down 2. Situational irony video. They'll tell you the definition. And then how many examples should you jot down? 2. All right. So if you 2...
I think the main benefit of using a lesson with lots of different activities is definitely the engagement. When students are engaged and you have their attention and they're busy doing something, first of all, there's a lot less behavior problems. Students aren't getting off task as often, and also they're digging into the work and learning rather than just sitting there listening to you give them the information.
A senior citizen
I'm going to pause it right here. So what did you write down for the definition of irony? CJ.
Something happens and it's the opposite of what you thought.
Good, when the opposite of what you expect to happen actually happens. So what example did they give? They already gave you a couple examples. They'll give you another one. All right, so that is what we call situational irony. So, can you think of any situational irony that you have maybe seen in books or maybe in your own life? Examples of situational irony? All right, dramatic irony. So, what would you say the definition of dramatic irony is? The definition. Joe.
When the audience knows something the character doesn't.
when the audience or the reader knows something that the character doesn't know. So make sure you have that. Now, let's think back to second neutral again. What do you know as the audience that the other characters don't know? This is the big one. The whole book is dramatic irony. So sometimes I think this is the easiest to identify, right? So who can raise their hand and tell me the definition of verbal irony? Verbal irony. So you're going to test how good you are at identifying irony and at identifying which kind. So you know in the first video, the situational irony one, it said, sometimes not everything is ironic. Those two ladies wearing the same dress, that wasn't ironic. It might be funny. The guy dropping the cake, that was funny, but it wasn't ironic. Well, some of these statements you're going to come across are not irony. So what you'll do, there's one of these for each table. Okay, don't look at it yet. There's just a little example underneath. One on each table. Don't do that. One on each table. You'll rotate through and have a sheet for you to fill out. First, you'll ask yourself, was that irony or not? The second thing you'll do is say, why do you think that, why or why not? So, let me just give you this. Start with the table you're on now, and your minute is starting now. Go ahead. Talk it out if you're not sure. Everybody record it. All right, let's go. Get up and rotate. All right, your minute is starting now.
So I've tried a few different things. Like I said, from the beginning, I set the standard and set my expectations, but also they need some sort of signal. So I use a timer sometimes. When the timer goes off, for example, you have 2 minutes to discuss this with your desk partner. When the timer goes off, they know to direct their attention back to the teacher. I've done silly, simple things like flick the lights or get a funny sound on the computer just to change it up a little bit so it doesn't get old. But like I said before, the biggest thing is to set your expectations with the students so they know what these activities are going to look like throughout the whole year.
All right, time's up. Rotate. Okay, do me a favor. Go back to your original seat. Go back to your original seat. This chart, I want you to fill out the L chart and list 3 things that you learned and then leave it on your desk for 5 points in class assignment. Take this out, 3 things that you learned, and you can leave it on your desk. Make sure your name's on it.
The effective model of engagement is the perfect way to teach if you believe in the 4 lenses of learning. It allows teachers to value and build upon student prior knowledge while letting students talk through new concepts with their peers and the teacher in a variety of settings. Students work from bell to bell, fully engaged, with limited time to do anything other than learn and work. It does require intentional planning and deliberate practice, but as Ms. Keys has shown, when done properly, it's as good as teaching and learning gets.